Hello, everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. Sorry about the little technical issue before. We are back. Sorry. Could somebody jump on Discord and let people know to join the new stream? The other original one had an issue. Good morning. Good morning. Again, we'll have to wait for some people to filter in here again. We'll give it a second attempt. By the way, if you are new here, even with technical challenges, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term viewers, please like, and please come back and comment on the videos. It really helps us get wider distribution. Please take that extra 20 or 30 seconds even to say 2 words. Please do that. So, good morning, Jake. Good morning, Amit. Good morning, Wavy. Good morning. Do you think we'll see volatility soon? Yes, I do. I think we'll see some major volatility, not necessarily this week, but it's setting up. It's too calm. We might get a sideways to little short-term pullback, one more slight push higher. There may be a intermeeting Fed rate hike. We'll have to see how the numbers start coming out, but this is getting very interesting with some of the price action. Twitter up another 8% on news. Musk is now a board member, which would be fascinating since, again, I talked about it yesterday. He filed the form as a passive investor, albeit late. And I'm not going to give this much more time other than I think if the SEC does not literally start enforcing the rules, then it's a free-for-all in these markets, and it turns it into a literal joke. Okay? It turns it into a joke for filings. It turns it into a joke with, all right, you know what, who should follow the rules then? And there's rules for a reason, and this can cost a lot of people a lot of money. Aren't we going to the moon at the rate we are moving? SPX 6000? Yeah, some people think that. Some people think that. I mean, that's my biggest problem. And the person in charge of Tesla now, has a stake in Twitter, doesn't like to follow any rules. Well, then you can't play in the environment. Guess what? Because rules, I'll give you an example. There are people with options. If he had done this filing on time, there were people that had positions that were especially closed out at month end that would have been very profitable if that filing had come out. I mean, this is where if you follow the rules, because people time things based off of unusual volume activity and filing dates, and if you don't file your forms and you just shrug off the rules, there are consequences to the broad market, and that's my problem. If you don't want the rules, then we should just get rid of the friggin' SEC because it doesn't matter anymore. And you can't selectively enforce the rules. Otherwise, you don't have rules. And who are they enforced on and who aren't they enforced on? And, if people root, Tesla stock or Twitter stock to the moon, blah, 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 screw the rules. Well, what happens when the rules come back and bite you in the butt? I don't want a friggin' market. I don't want to participate in a market where the rules aren't enforced. Because you can't trade it effectively. You don't know when, who can shrug off the rules, who can't. Then don't have the friggin' rules and make it a free-for-all Wild West like the crypto world is. And then it doesn't matter. At least let me know that. All right. So, balance of trade coming in a little worse than expected. I'm watching really close this ISM number at 9. I don't think it will be a huge mover. We got a lot of Fed speakers today. I'm actually going to watch some of the components in the ISM more than the headline number. So that's what I am looking at. Sorry about the rant, but this crap pisses me off. Because I want an orderly market, not a gamified market. FOMC 75% steel alpha slightly positive mode. Even if it drifts back to about 45.50, 45.40, it's still, then it just shifts to neutral mode. Let's see here. Again, I'm expecting some sideways to working off a little this ramp up. We still do have the head and shoulders in place. First and second, well, second target not quite hit. Even if it pulls back, you know, to kiss the neckline goodbye, it's still in place. This is just a shorter term pattern. Where I start getting more hesitant is with the daily. If it starts getting back below about 45.50 at this point, that's where the rotation zone is on the daily. Other than that, we could just see some choppy to price action. Now we still do have the upside target, so we still have short-term probabilities to the upside. We might take a pause before it resumes. Really watch, besides the neckline, watch this key support area on a pullback. All right, we also have that prior harmonic there. I don't really start shifting into major bearish mode until we really start breaking down closer to the 4,500. But if you remember, you do your harmonics. And here's the major harmonic cluster. It's a 62.5. I know we got overlapping levels, but about 45.33 on a closing basis on the 1 hour or more puts me more so for a retest of the lows. Other than that, again, choppy with a slight upward bias. Calm before the storm was a thing. And yes, I do think the complacency is getting way too big. Watching for some topping patterns in here. Again, sorry, I'm jumping around a little. I'm somewhat frustrated with what's going on. 45.83, we bounced off there. That's the level I was watching with the European session. We bounced off of there. Now I can update this and look, we have that cluster to 75. You start getting above this 4,600, we do have a potential double top in the S&P. Speaking of potential double top, so the levels I'm watching, if we do rally today, minor 45.90, majors 45.98 to 4,600, then 46.08, but we get into major toppy territory. NASDAQ bouncing off this 15,181 harmonic, just watching for a pullback. I start getting a little more aggressive to the downside if we start getting about below about 15,025. Remember, you can also do your harmonics here on this little run up. Key level then is about 14,903. I just go off 14,900. But anything other than that is just a standard pullback. The NASDAQ still has a potential double top. Could this easily push higher again before that triggers? Yes. What's interesting is you are starting to get the rotation zone out of the way. So if we have a little dip, another push higher, that will not make it into a triple for me yet. Then if we get the daily rotation zone out of the way over the next couple days, that's when I'll really start watching for some downside price action. The next level, see upside. I'll get to questions in a minute. 15,182, but the next key area I'm watching is 15,232. 15,232 on a push higher. By the way, also, I'm just going to update these levels now. So we'll go to 15, about 250. Remember 15,232. But really, this, if we do get that push higher above this, it reinforces returning to this topping price action. And by the way, also remember, when it did close above the 62.5 here, it favors at least a return to it. This just missed that harmonic, but it still does favor a return to this area of 15,202 to the most recent highs. So keep that in mind statistically. Where do we sit? Dow, sloppy price action. No great patterns here. I'm really just focused on if it pulls back below 34,430, because that would be below the 50 on the daily, and this is a precursor to weakness and below the rotation zone. Other than that, I'm not really looking at much with the Dow. We did have this double bottom that is still in play. So that's what I will be watching really overall on a rally above a 34,860 area, 34,930, 35,000, and 35,070. That's the prices. Other than that, it's just sort of in this horribly sloppy channel with back and forth. Actually, if we pause in the S&P and NASDAQ, I will watch for a slight push up, excuse me, of the hiccups in the Dow. Russell, we do have this little double, which is still in play. So the next key levels 2103, 2110, and 2116. The DAX still holding. Key level for me is this 14,370 area. We break below there. I'm watching 14,200. We break below 200, then that would be a huge warning sign. And also, this could be making a very sloppy head and shoulders. We're getting into some head and shoulders patterns recently. Patterns tend to cluster also, interestingly enough. So you want to watch for something. Here's the initial area. It's a little sloppy because of its extended double hump shoulder, but I will be watching as a precursor. I won't get overly bearish until we get below this 14,200 though. Crude, horizontal channel breakout. Again, hitting the horizontal channel from the high to low of that channel. You can see here hitting those levels and now pulling back. Don't have much. We're still in consolidation in crude. Don't have much going on. We start breaking below about 103.35. I will watch again for the bigger pullback, but these are just short-term trades in here. Nothing long-term. Push higher above this 105.59 could be a little scalpy up to 106.56. Then up to the upper triangle line and major resistance about 107.40 to 107.50. So overall, I'm just treating crude as it's in here as consolidation, trying to set up for the next move. Back to this real quick. If we start breaking down, I'm really focused on that 50% level from this little run up, and then major, you can see here to 62.5. I just love the price action, the way it lines up here, because we come down here, it's this prior resistance becoming support 62.5. We break below that, then I will watch for a retest of those lows and possibly a spike down to this 97.50 to 98 level. Gold, nothing going on. Again, it's all quiet in gold and silver, so don't need to reiterate that. Notes, I need to touch on this. First and second targets hit, could not get a sustained move above the rotation zone, and now rotating down, so yields going up again did not trigger this other sloppy double, so that never got triggered off the table and then rolled over back below the 62.5. So I'm watching for a retest now of the low area on any rally. So we couldn't even get a bigger correction. There is still a lot of pressure on notes. Okay, so this is now, I'm back in sell the rally mode in notes. Key area I'm watching for that return is about 121.07 to the most recent lows. Could this be setting up also potentially for a larger double pattern? Yes, it could. But I will be watching that on a potentially a longer term daily / weekly basis. VIX. Again, it's still keeping an eye on this double, but it, again, is a long way off from triggering. But if we did get a volatility spike, that's what I would be watching. Dollar index, still in its sideways channel. Your mega caps, we do have a potential double top still, so we'll keep an eye on that, but this could easily move sideways and correct. That's quite a ways from triggering. We'd have to get some major weakness. Tesla, again, if you're longer term, you've been playing this rally, I would definitely be tightening a stop on this. We got that final push higher I was looking for. It's getting into some divergence and topping patterns, so I'm going to start focusing on a bigger potential pullback over the next few days. So my advice from educational purposes only is to know where your trailing stop is. The bottom of the 4-hour rotation zone, if you wanted a wider stop, you still have this gap with the 4-hour rotation zone. If you wanted a tighter stop, again, if it starts dropping below this 1 hour and gets back below this 11:10 area, this resistance becoming support, then, you know, it might be wise to take off a little more of your position if you're trying to capture. The next Key areas higher, 1159, then 1175. I know we had stuff on Twitter. Next target 5460. If you get, and there's some major resistance up here, 5460. Then you go into somewhat of a clear path above that. Just trying to find the area of significance. That's significance right there. 5839. Still longer term, I'm watching for a rollover play in this. I think it will exhaust itself, but there's no point in fighting this in the short term. So it's only things are to go with short-term moves, although this is getting very, very overextended to the upside. Just wanted to touch on a couple more things. With speaking of the Wild West, here you go. I'm still expecting one more push. I'm not expecting this double to complete in Bitcoin. I am watching. It still does favor a nice little 5-wave pattern with a push higher, and so I'm really focusing on this 50,722 area. Ethereum, again, even with a pullback, going to watch for one more push higher, just trying to base above the 200, but even on a pullback, watching for another push higher in both of those. All right. Oh, by the way, grains, wheat. The crop conditions for planting in the U.S. came in worse than expected, and we already identified a potential double. So there could be a quick little wheat play to the upside above this 1075, above 1075. Nothing really. Corn sideways basing. There's not a great pattern here, but above 766, I will watch for a retest of the highs and then possibly a run to 8. But nothing in soybeans at this point. That's the weakest of the bunch. This, again, not a double top. Sort of a still toppy on the weekly, but just watching for a potential pullback to support. I still think grains have ways to run, and at least we're working off that overbought condition in like stuff like DBA, which I put in the sector overview. So get to some comments. Moon Boys Unite, Tesla 5K. It's insane out there. This will not end. No, it's not going to end well. Ranting again. This is where I spent a lot of time and effort working not only stuff from technical analysis, but I've been involved in these markets since 1992. And I don't like to see them go to crap like this. And I'm not talking pullbacks, I'm not talking price action. I'm talking, and this has been a long time coming, that the rules have not been enforced. And we're getting into that. If we're not gonna have rules, then you don't literally have a structured environment. And all this stuff with this, they have not dealt with all this juicing. They're not even looking into it. They haven't even changed the reporting requirements for weekly options. Like, you don't have to disclose large positions and everything else. It's just turned into the Wild West of trading. It's like third world country markets, and that's what really pisses me off. I could be wrong. It feels like late 2020, early 2021 with the meme stocks. This time the Fed is not there to backstop, assuming they really stick to the rate hike plans. I think there will be a lot of hurt coming, but again, it's turned back into that. We're back into the, and this is the big boys have learned to juice this and play this with their fake Reddit accounts, juicing stuff up, sucking the retail in, and it's all back to the gamification of certain stuff. So we'll see. 15-minute potential bottom on the S&P. 15-minute potential. We can go down there. Yes, that is very good spotting that, Jake. So off the bat, here you go. Here's a little Jake. Brought to you by Jake. I normally don't get down to that level for this, but here you go. You get a break below, let's see, a break above, sorry, 40, 72.75. You could see a little run quickly to about 45.82. Intermediate levels 45.77, 45.80. Now you start breaking below these lows. That's off the table. So that's your little early morning play. Potentially, are we bullish or bearish? Short term, it's actually mixed. We got still bullish upside potential, but I'm expecting more sideways to choppy price action at least through tomorrow afternoon. With even if we pull back, we have a lot. Through the rest of the week, we have a slight upside bias. Through today and tomorrow, we have a slight downside to choppy bias. And other than that, long term, we have a lower bias. There you go. Everything is trading off of again, tactical trading. You have to be very nimble right now. Is there anything we can do as market participants? I'm sure the SEC knows the violations, but they don't do anything about it. I contact them. I let them know what I think and that this is disgusting. And it's not about I don't care, I'm not attacking the you know who I'm talking about. I just think he violates it a lot, and I don't want to see anybody violate this. So I'd ask them to, and you know what they'll fine him? They'll probably fine $100K. There are people who lost more because of his late filing than $100K. And to him, $100K is like me getting fined 50 cents or 25 cents. Make some enforcement action that really works. One thing I've learned, patience. If not opportunity or high probability setup, just watch and wait. Like you say, the best trade is no trade. Yes, and if you don't have any trade over the next few days, there's nothing to do. Wait for your setups. Do not force anything. There'll be great trades again, and this is a very scalpy environment. Very scalpy. Morning, Lauren. Yeah, and as stuff wears on, this is true with anything. As stuff wears on, the headlines lose their juice, the market shifts to something else. And right now, it is the calm before the storm because we don't have a lot. We have Fed minutes tomorrow. We have the Fed speakers, but I can't predict what they're going to say. But I doubt they'll come out dovish. They'll still be jawboning the market with we're going to have to move faster, stronger, and everything else. And the market's also discounting that. Do you ever trade the futures? Are just the challenge with the futures is over the weekends. You can trade the futures because they're settled in cash, so they're fine for short-term trading. And they're actually if you're in it for short-term trading, I actually like it better than just the pure cryptos because you can easily short still in the futures. The challenge gets into the weekend trading because it's tough to hedge because the futures, they need to have the futures literally open all weekend. By the way, that 15-minute could be breaking down into the open, so that's probably off the table. Not officially yet, but it's looking like it's breaking down. You are welcome, Amit. You're welcome, Wavy. Have a great trading day. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up going into the open. Again, I'll be here this afternoon, so please stay tuned. Maybe we'll get some more rants, and I'll talk to everyone later. Sorry about the little technical glitches this morning. Bye for now.